Sagittarius, what is even up with you? Welcome to Starchaeology Tarot. I am Desi. I will be your Starchaeologist on this Starchaeological dig straight up into the month of May. I'm excited to really get the real deal on May for you all, straight from source, and deliver the message to you that you most need to hear right now, the most resonant message, and the one that will align you best with your highest self, your highest path, your highest good. If stuff resonates with you in this, great. If there are things that don't panic, because that's just meant for another Sagittarius. There's a lot of Sagittarius folks out there, so keep that in mind, everyone. Also encourage you to check out the reading for your rising sign, if you know it, your moon sign, and your Venus. If you have questions about those specific areas of your life, it also might just give you a fuller picture to the very unique recipe that is you. You are an individual. There is no one else like you. So these readings, we have to keep in mind, they are part of a greater understanding, a more complex picture of ourselves. I'm talking too much. Let's start shuffling. Sagittarius, good heavens, we have the Six of Cups plus the Six of Wands, double six. That's very interesting. I don't know as much about numerology, but anyone, folks in numerology, what are sixes about? Leave a message in the comments. There is something for you, an issue perhaps. It could be something, it could be an issue, it could be a conflict that has been unresolved basically for you since childhood. It also could be something positive, not that has no conflict, but rather a childhood dream, a childhood desire that has yet to be fulfilled. But it is being fulfilled for you finally at the beginning of May, or this conflict that you've had is being resolved after a very, very long time. I can also see something, maybe even just something that happened in your childhood where there's light being shed on that event for you now. It's being reframed. You have new information. There has been some sort of revelation of truth that is allowing you to look back on that, experience it, process it more fully and effectively, and actually rise above it now, float above it, come out of the ashes and be reborn from it. You're coming out a butterfly, having had this victory over it. The Six of Wands appears when we've had a long time battle, which tells me that's why I think this is something that's more likely to be a conflict for you, some sort of unresolved conflict, some sort of trauma you might have experienced. But it does go back all the way to childhood. I think, though I will say, for some of you, this goes back further than childhood. This could go back as far as a past life, something that you have carried into this life that that is now finally being resolved. It's a battle you have been fighting that has lasted over lifetimes. That needs to be said for some of you, because I think that some of you do feel that way. You feel like there is this, it's a lesson that you've carried with you for as long as you can remember, and you don't really understand why. There's nothing logically in your lifetime that explains why you continue to deal with this thing. And if that is the case, then it could be a past life thing. This could be something karmic, something that long outdates you in this form. But here you are doing the hard work on Earth once again to try to resolve it, to try to understand it, and you really are coming out of the battle victorious. For those of you who know exactly what this is, this is an issue that goes back to your childhood. It goes back to your youth. It could also just be something involving someone from your youth, involving an old friend, a childhood friend, something involving just an element of your past that is now resurfacing so that it can be healed. It's something that has been a point of conflict for you, a point of battle, something that has been really a really tiring and exhausting struggle. And to come out of this victorious, it's like, oh my God, I have worked so hard to do this, and I'm a new person now. I'm not even this child anymore. I'm grown up. And I can't believe it feels like I've lived a lifetime since that time. I am a new person now. And that's beautiful, because you are reborn. You have taken a new shape, which is partially why maybe this is the opportune time to let this thing go, to let this cycle complete, to let yourself, the wound, finally be healed from it, because you are not the same you were. You've emerged a butterfly now. You've been in the chrysalis. You lived your life as a caterpillar, and you are transformed. You are a new set of cells. You are experiencing the world in a new, different way, whereas before you were land-bound. Now you can fly. So why keep moving forward with the same perspective on this event, or on this person, or on whatever this is from the past that you had when you were that other form, when you were that other person, that old, outdated version of yourself? You are a new version. And you're really feeling that. You're really feeling here in the beginning of May, I'm new, I am reborn, I am a butterfly now, and that battle's done. It's done. So I'm not going to keep fighting in it. That battle is done. I also think, and I do feel called to say this for some of you, I think that this is, whatever this issue is, even if it is something that involves someone from your past, all issues that are rooted in childhood or adolescence, but all of those issues that go back to a time when we were still developing as a human being, becoming whole, whatever that means, forming our perspectives, our fundamental beliefs about the world around us, how things work, who we are, why we're here. Even if that involves another person, another thing that hurt you, the real relationship you are healing is not your relationship with that person or that thing, or your relationship to that event necessarily. It will always be about your relationship with your inner child. We become adults, but we don't ever really leave our inner children behind. We live on as children as well as adults in our adult bodies. And there are things that your inner child will continue to need for the rest of your life based on what those traumatic events were, what those defining events were for you, those things that shaped your development, that shaped your understanding of the world. We all have different things that made us feel afraid, that made us feel whole, that made us feel good, that made us feel bad. And it's so important, in order to address those things, respond to them in an adult way, in a productive way, it's it's so important that we first address how our inner child is responding to those things and take care of the child in us, the child who's just afraid. Because if we don't address that part of ourselves, if we deny that part of ourselves, then we risk responding in a way that actually hurts us more or hurts others more, that is in fact actually not very mature or wise at all. So you're doing some really deep work here, I think, in May. And whatever it is that is resurfacing, the past that is coming up to revisit you and say, hey, do you remember me? Do you want me to wreak havoc on you, on your emotional life, or do you want to end this battle once and for all? You know, this is something that you can come away from with a real sense of peace. Like, I'm strengthening my relationship right now with that little person who is still with me at all times, and that will only strengthening your inner child only strengthens you now as an adult. So that's a really, really positive thing, and really, really deep, hard work to do. I think also, so the advice and action here, we have the Wheel of Fortune plus the Eight of Swords. Man, Eight of Swords is coming up for so many signs in May. It's really interesting because I think so many of us are feeling just trapped and powerless, restricted, purely based on our circumstances, our very physical circumstances right now of quarantining, of sheltering in place, whatever it is. It's really easy for that actual physical manifestation of feeling trapped to also make us feel mentally trapped, emotionally trapped, and restricted. It's a real test of our inner world, how strong our inner world is to support us. Because if that's weak, then having an outer world that makes us feel small or trapped or restricted, that only aggravates the weak points in our inner world and the strength of our inner world that we've built. It kind of is a quick way to highlight, oh, you don't feel safe right now because your world is smaller. You're being forced inside yourself, and if that doesn't feel safe in there, then you really feel trapped. So I think some of you right now really are finding yourself still in this trapped place, and having whatever this is, revisiting from your past, or maybe you literally are revisiting your past right now. You are living in your childhood home with your parents. That is where you've chosen to quarantine, whatever it is. Do remember. Those are two separate starts to different sentences. Remember that becoming this butterfly, a normal part of that process is being in the chrysalis. There's nothing unnatural about going inward at times, living quietly, living smallly. Is that a word? And that it doesn't have to be scary. It only is scary if when you go into that inner world, when you turn into yourself, when what is waiting for you are swords, when what is waiting for you are words and thoughts that you are thinking and saying that are threatening to your very existence, to yourself. This is a time where it's hard to avoid our own inner critics, our own inner censors, the voices from other people that we've adopted and allowed into our very intimate spaces, like our minds and our hearts. And we've let those people in, we've let those perspectives in, and they become these constant, these voices that constantly put us down. We mistake those voices often for being our own voice. It's not. That's not your voice. That's not how you naturally talk to yourself. That's something that you've learned. And being forced into your inner world now, I think a lot of you are being forced to really confront these voices, to confront these doubts, fears, however they take shape, these thoughts, these words, however they take shape, you're being forced to confront them. And that's a scary experience and a disorienting experience. But just remember that it's only you that choose to keep those thoughts alive by listening to them, or by giving them power, by giving those fears and doubts the power of your attention. You don't have to give them any power. You don't have to value what they're saying. And the cool thing is that the less you do listen, the less attention you do give those voices, the less they start to speak. So remember that there's no one, as far as advice goes, there's no one holding these swords in this inner world at this point but you. You are the one who wields those swords. So, do you want to keep turning them on yourself? Do you want to keep letting the pains from the past, this person from the past, have power over you and keep you in a battle that you can finally actually walk away from? Battle is done. Turn the sword. Put your sword away, honestly. Put the sword away. The battle is done. You don't have to keep fighting, especially when it seems like the person who's losing the most is you. By you fighting, by you holding your sword, you're holding those swords against yourself. Whatever this thing from the past is, it's done. It's done. And you can actually see this time of transformation as a time of rest, of natural regenerative rest. It's part of a natural process of going into the chrysalis. There's nothing inherently scary about that. Being paired with the Wheel of Fortune here, it's like saying surrender to that. Let go and just accept that this might be a time for you to be in a chrysalis. This is a time of transformation from you. You are in the process of rising above this battle as a butterfly. So remember all that it's taken to get you to this point, and what's going to continue taking you through it is doing that inner work, doing that inner child work, going inside and knowing that you have every ability, every power that you need to rise out of this victoriously. And that the way that you are processing whatever this past issue is bringing up in you, however you're processing it, it's natural. It's a natural part of the process. You are in the chrysalis because that's how you're going to process your way through it and eventually get out of that chrysalis. So surrender to that process. It is being the Wheel of Fortune here. It's like saying there is a real. The hand of destiny is in this for you. Let destiny take the wheel. Let fate take the wheel. Let the universe drive for a little bit while you take a load off. You don't need to be micromanaging this. You don't need to be over controlling this. In fact, when we micromanage, we don't really allow ourselves to feel the things that we need to feel about this. This is a Cups card. This is, whatever this is, it's emotional for you. It's bringing up emotional things, and you need to feel those emotions. You need to go through the natural process of feeling those emotions. And the feeling of emotions, it's like following a river. It's not, you can't micromanage a river. You need to just let it flow as it's going to flow. It has a very feminine, free-flowing energy to it. The processing of this, the emotional journey of this. If you're trying to structure it in any way or contain it in any way, then you're not giving it the space that it needs. The Wheel of Fortune, you also might be noticing in this time of feeling, feeling like, if you find yourself in this dark place of feeling like the victim, of feeling trapped, feeling powerless, facing these fears and doubts that this past, this person from the past, this event from the past, this visit from the past is bringing up for you. If you find yourself in this dark place, this Eight of Swords place, start paying extra attention to the world around you. You have a heightened intuition during this time. Wheel of Fortune often means that, you're aligning with destiny, you're aligning with fate, and there's such a shift in your direction right now with the Wheel of Fortune. It's like anything is possible right now. You can change, you can come out of this battle, come out of this event, a new person, and become whatever it is that you want to be. That's the thing about the Wheel of Fortune card. It's just like, it's that chance, miraculous, like serendipitous energy right now. There are chance alignments that are happening, synchronicities that are full of meaning, and maybe trying to communicate things to you, give you clues about how to move forward through this, how to shift your thinking so that you leave that victim mentality behind and have this hero mentality, this victor mentality, this mentality of I'm transformed, I've gone through the metamorphosis, I'm coming back the war hero from this battle. That I think is the real mindset shift that's happening for you through the processing of this past event. So if you are noticing synchronicities, if certain things are aligning in certain ways, that pay attention to those things. That is the universe. That is source. That is spirit communicating with you and trying to guide you, and give you clues to your next steps. There's a magic also in that, in honoring and paying attention to those things. It's easier then to feel and connect to the magic and mystery of life, which then is the very thing that reminds us that anything is possible and that miracles happen constantly. Miracles happen every day. And this shift for you can be a miraculous shift if you let it be. And I think it very well can be. I mean, talking about, let's just look at the outcome cards here. We have the Sun plus the Ten of Swords. I mean, the Sun just is the card of success, achievement, nourishment. Here the Sun is coming out for you. Here comes the Sun. You are growing through this process. You're being nourished through this process, despite the fears and doubts that you're facing. This is actually exactly what you need in order to really grow and blossom. This is a springtime for you, a spiritual springtime for you. Things are blossoming for you, have the potential to blossom for you because of this ending. There is a real end, and this is swords too. So I'm seeing that whatever this emotional thing is, whatever this thing in the past is, this past event, this past person, this old you maybe, this old version of yourself that is revisiting you right now, that you are facing, that you have something to resolve, that you are resolving, that you've just resolved. There also is a very negative way of thinking that goes along with that Eight of Swords, that framing of yourself as being powerless, as being a victim, turning your words and thoughts on yourself. There's an ending to that kind of thinking, or the belief systems that go along with this past event, whatever this thing planted in you as a young child. Maybe this created belief systems in you that have you've held on to your entire life up until this point, and you are getting rid of those belief systems. This is an end to your way of understanding the world through a certain lens. And I also will say it's an end to the drama. It's an end to the melodrama of it all. You don't need that anymore. You don't need the drama of that battle. That battle's over. There's also something about the Ten of Swords, because it does have to do with like a dramatic, an ending, but it's also, it's melodrama. It's like, there's something about that goes hand in hand with playing a victim or seeing yourself as a victim. And first of all, there's no blame here. We all play the victim sometimes, especially things that go back in our past very far. Sometimes it's hard to process things any other way when things happen to us as a child, because really any trauma that happens to us as children makes us victims in a sense. Children are innocent. They don't know it. We don't know. We're still learning. And so it's not a denial of your victimhood necessarily, but more so that the way you're choosing to see it now as an adult could be holding you back, could be limiting you. So how do you want to shift that mindset? How do you want to finish processing that event so that you can actually grow from it and let go of it? Whoa, I made green tea. I forgot I had it here. Sorry, guys. I think this is a huge thing. Without the drama of this, without the attachment to this past thing, without the attachment to the past, I will just say the past. You know what it is in the past that is coming up for you in May, or that's been coming up for you. This attachment to the past has taken up so much space, mental space, and time in your life, energy in your life, that it's like without it, you don't even realize how successful you can be without it, what you can actually achieve without it, how much you can grow in the light, because you're actually putting yourself in the light by getting rid of the drama that's been keeping you in the darkness. When that goes away, all shadows go away. You are just basking in sunlight. You're able to actually give yourself the chance that you deserve to grow, to achieve, to be successful, to do the things that you want to do. And oh my God, I'm just realizing this. There is a little baby on this horse. We're talking about little babies here. It's almost like you're doing whatever this thing that is coming full circle, that is coming to a full ending here. You are rising out of this, the victor. This battle is ending. This battle is behind you. And you're rewriting who you were as a child. You are even rewriting that past version of yourself. And this is the inner child that you are getting in touch with now. You are giving your inner child life now. Through you now. Because he or she has maybe been really dead inside you for a while, hurting inside you, suffering inside you for a while. And this is your inner child coming out of this. Naked on a horse. and ready to take on the world, wearing a dandelion crown and holding a big old flag. When we live as adults from this whole, complete, healthy place as our inner children, I mean, that's like the best thing you can do. It's a surefire way to align you with what is important in life, what fills your cup, what is the right path for you. You ask a child what they want to do with their lives, and they are like, I'm gonna be a puppy. They say something that's absolutely impossible, and they say it with full confidence. I'm going to be a dog. I'm going to be a puppy when I grow up. Or I'm going to be an astronaut, or, fill in the blank. But it's like there's just no concept, really, of... There's just the concept of failure, the concept of all of the fear that keeps us from doing the things that we want, the things that just bring us pure joy and make us most happy. When we are children, those things are so tiny, if even there at all. Depending on, our individual conditioning and individual childhood experiences. But it's like connecting to that pure part of yourself, that inner child. It's like, that is, if we all carried that mentality with us throughout life, we'd all be achieving our dreams so much more quickly, because we wouldn't be so really jaded by other people's opinions, culture, society, perspectives of what we are capable of. Like the logical, practical understanding of what a person can accomplish and do in their lives. That's all learned. And I see this just being so liberating for you. This is like a reconnection with your inner child and with the dreams and things that filled your cup as a child. This is like a revisiting, a rewriting of just like that pure childlike energy, that playfulness that you approach life with. If you haven't felt playful in life in a while, that playfulness, this is a time to get in touch with that playfulness, revive that playfulness, see where that takes you. See where that takes you along your life path. See how that informs your new form. See how that informs the new version of yourself that you're stepping into right now. Who is that person going to be? Are they led by the little version of you? Is your inner child co-creating with you? Co-creating your reality with you? Are they helping you call the shots? Are they making decisions about the love you show to yourself, how you nourish yourself, how you encourage yourself? Because a child does that so differently and so much better than an adult does, sadly. Than most of us, I'll say. So this is just an opening. I mean, this is a real portal opening, I think, for you guys. And you have every reason to hope for utter success, or to plan on utter success with this. I mean, this whole journey for you in May is just basking in sunlight, in the light of the sun. And this thing that is ending, this battle that you are coming through, let it stay in the past. Let it end. It's time for it to end. I see this as a real making peace between the new you and the old you, as well as a real peace with you in this adult form and your inner child. This is like things come in real full circle for you guys in May in a really, really beautiful way. I hope this was helpful. I hope this made you guys excited about May, because it makes me excited things thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe it. Please also comment. Tell me what's going on in your life. I love feedback. I love hearing the details of how this reading applied to you. And this was, I think, a particularly juicy one. So, yeah, please share if you'd like to. I would love to connect with you. And share this channel with anyone who you think would appreciate it. I really, really appreciate your support, especially while this channel is still just a little baby channel just starting out. So thank you so much for being here. It does not go unnoticed or unappreciated by me. I wish you guys all the good in the world. Just go have the best May of your life. I literally love you. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Goodbye.